Get over here!
Update 7 for Elite Dangerous Odyssey has just arrived, and it brings with it a number of changes, a number of bits of new content, as well as quite a few fixes. We're going to get into those in this particular video. Firstly though, you're probably wondering about the little clip right at the beginning there. So this particular example is one among many similar examples. This was with Update 6, but it seems that this particular aspect of the AI has not yet been improved with Update 7, but more on that in just a moment. So let's take a look at the information on Update 7. As you may remember, it comes with some new variations for concourses. This isn't a full-on variation change with new colorations on walls or anything like that. Instead, it covers elements such as railings, crates, plants and other props. These are replaced with alternatives depending on the type of station that you're actually in. Additionally, the more wealthy space stations would have cleaner interiors with less rubbish laying around, whilst agricultural, industrial and asteroid stations will be more untidy. Now there have been some performance improvements, at least as far as I could tell. This right here is with Update 6, and yeah, totally different station, but I think you can get a bit of an idea of the level of performance that was going on here just a little over a month ago. 25 frames per second wasn't common by any means, but it did happen frequent enough that it bared mentioning, maybe a quarter of all occasions that I visited stations. This is with Update 6, and you can see the performance, for me at least, is much improved. Now this isn't a benchmark by any means, it's well basically anecdotal evidence at best, but I think it does speak for itself. Looking over on the Elite Dangerous forums and Reddit, I've noticed that other people haven't really seen much of an improvement, whilst other people have seen an improvement, so it seems a bit of a mixed bag at the moment. Meanwhile, YouTuber Yamiks has done some benchmark testing with the offline tutorials, and those results you can see on the screen right here, and they are also linked to the thread in the video description below. So it's very clear that, for now at least, not everyone is seeing these same type of results. There's something else going on here, I would say. Now again, we're back here in an older build of Elite Dangerous Odyssey. This is around about the release version, and the performance again wasn't too great. And again, although this wasn't happening all the time, it was consistent enough that at the time I felt it well worth mentioning and pointing out. So the various updates since launch, here we are with Update 7, have definitely brought some improvements to the frame rate. Here we are averaging around about 40 to 45 frames per second in a conflict zone. Now, as far as I'm concerned, this is by no means excellent, not by a long shot, but it is definitely an improvement. If Frontier continue in this direction, then, well, basically performance should hopefully continue to get better. And from my understanding, Update 8, the next update, should have a few additional performance fixes that should improve things even further. But returning to Update 7 for the meanwhile, the patch notes include a big list of other fixes and improvements beyond what I've already mentioned. I won't go through each of these one by one, as you can check out the patch notes for yourself. For that, do check out the link in the video description. So, in addition to the new Concourse variations, there are a few other key features for Update 7. One of these is the introduction to anti-air turrets in conflict zones. There's also a new type of troop that can be found in conflict zones. These are called Enforcers, and they carry rockets. Basically, they were about to shoot SRVs and hit you from a distance. Apex taxis also have a new redirect feature, which you can use to basically change your destination or even return to your point of origin at any point during your journey. Elsewhere, Horizons has also received a small patch. This patch fixes Thargoid hearts for both the Odyssey and Horizons clients. You may remember that occasionally Thargoid hearts would become invulnerable. This is a problem that has been going on for years at this point, but this has now at last been fixed. The issue was due to a miscommunication between clients when attacking Thargoids with other players. Also, for both Odyssey and Horizons, bookmark storage has been increased to 200 for each type of bookmark. So that covers the headline features for this small update. Some other highlights include a bunch of fixes and improvements to AI. Now these fixes appear to correct the way AI behaves in certain circumstances. For example, Enforcer units, Enforcer troops, will now correctly use the right weapon according to range, so something I would assume that has been a bit of an issue during testing. NPCs, meanwhile, in different rooms will no longer try and talk to each other. AI ships now attack ship-launched fighters, and so on, a whole bunch of different fixes along these types of lines. Generally speaking then, the list is pretty extensive. Overall though, it seems aimed at correcting relatively minor behaviour issues. For me, the biggest issue remains the poor quality of the AI overall. You saw a clip of that in the opening to the video. Sure, the dude was a civilian and a low-ranking one at that, however, that doesn't excuse the poor behaviour. The footage in the background here is from a conflict zone planned with the latest update. The AI still remains very bad indeed. Again, the ranks of the NPCs here are very low, which does account for a part of the lack of challenge that I found here. However, AI with a higher rank is rarely much more of a challenge. Whilst higher AI can certainly deal more damage, their behaviour is still, and generally speaking at least, very poor. Personally then, this is an area I would definitely like to see fixed in a future update. So, is Update 7 worth checking out? Well, personally, yes, I do think it's worth downloading and logging in and having a quick look. You may find some good performance improvements based on what some people are seeing, but alternatively, you may not. Again, there is that aspect of it being a bit of a mixed bag there. The fixes for Thargoid combat would be nice, especially if you enjoy Thargoid combat. Meanwhile, the anti-air turrets as well as the new Enforcer units in conflict zones shake things up a little bit, so yeah, worth trying out one or two of these. But it's not a big huge change to Odyssey, at least not yet. All these updates are incremental changes, so again, I suspect we'll see a bit more substantial change further towards the end of the year. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys and girls next time.